Hi friends, welcome to Time Out with Johnny. Through mystery and thriller novels, films and televisions, we have been intrigued and attracted by the exploits of the likes of Thomas Magnum, Sam Spade and of course Sherlock Holmes. Presenting before you today's guest, a private detective in real life, or I may say a real private eye, Mr. Gautam Majumdar. An electrical engineer, he has many qualities tucked in his pocket. Besides being a soft skill trainer, he also specializes in public speaking and counseling. He also loves cooking, theatre, gardening, and is a very good singer. Welcome to my show, sir.
थैंक यू जॉली मैडम। मुझे पता नहीं था मेरे में इतना सारा गुण है, आपने बता दिया, थैंक यू।
Sir, to begin with such an extensive background, what made you decide to try your hand at private investigation?
Okay, now what made me decide to be a private detective? Well, it's a long story, but to cut it short, I was looking out for a job. Basically, I'm an electrical engineer, as you said. We had an electrical control panel factory, but we ran into a lot of problems. So I was looking out for a job in Baroda. Now, Globe Detective Agency, which is the best detective agency in India, they were looking out for a branch manager in Baroda. But you know something? The qualification was either a LLB or an army major. I was neither of that, because as I said that I'm an electrical engineer with a management background. The branch manager who was here in Baroda, who was transferred to Ahmedabad, I knew him. So he said, Gautam Dasi, there is a opening. I don't know whether you'll be able to fit into it. My MD is coming, so I can fix up an appointment. बाकी तुम्हारा हाल ठीक है, जाते हैं अपॉइंटमेंट एक इंटरव्यू दे के आते हैं. So I met the managing director, Mr. Prem Kumar, God bless his soul, the best detective in India, I think. So I went and met him. He interviewed me on and on and on. It went on for about an hour and a half. And at the end, he said, when can you join? And well, I said, I can join from tomorrow. He said, okay, you can join from tomorrow. And that's how an electrical engineer became a private detective. Now, it's a very tough job. You know, what you see in movies and what you read in storybooks, it's a vast difference. It's a very tough job. And second thing is, basically because of my electrical engineering background, there is a lot of analytical things you have to do. You have to. So what made me change was, first and foremost, was the job. I needed a job. And second thing is, how many of you met a private detective in your life? Very few. So that was a glamour. There's a certain amount of glamour attached to a private detective, and that's what made me join this company. Well, I worked for Globe, and then they were, after about 7 years, they were transferring me to Bombay as vice president. I said, sorry, I don't want to go to Bombay. I want to stay here. And it became stagnant. My promotion became stagnant because the next promotion was a vice president. In the meantime, I got a job somewhere. I worked there for 5 months and 5 days, and then the clients of Globe, they started ringing me up, because you see, a private detective is like a doctor. You expose yourself completely. You have to tell the truth to them. We are basically fact finders. So if you do, so those people started ringing me up कि क्या कर रहा है, क्यों ग्लोब छोड़ दिया, चल चालू कर, नौकरी क्या करने का, चालू कर अपना business, we'll help you out. And that's how it's about 30 years now that I left that other company and started my own. And it's a merry-go-round, it's a up and down. Yes, we are targets of some people. There's a lot of danger attached to it, and unfortunately, not like in USA where you can arrest a person. Here we can't do it. So whatever we do directly with police, no; indirectly with our contacts, yes. So certain amount of risk is there, but that romance, a private detective, it's a totally different thing. So this is what made me join or become a private detective from an electrical engineer. I hope I have answered your question. Thank you.
Interesting, sir. Now, can you tell me what is the relevance of a private detective in today's life? I mean, it was not such a common word at the time of our grandparents.
Well, a private detective is what I say is we are basically fact finders. Now, anywhere, any place, you feel that you have to find out the truth. That's where a private detective comes in. Now, I'll tell you, I'll give you an example. Sometime last year, a very senior person of a multinational came and met me. He said, Mr. Majumdar, my daughter is getting married next month. Everything is decided, but somebody told me, no, get a proper check done about the boy's family. And that's why I'm doing it. But see, I've made up my mind. Shadi to ladke se hi karane wale hai. Now, this is called pre-matrimonial inquiry, where you find out how the boy or the girl is. Now, I'll continue the thing. So, okay, so he gave me the details. The boy was in Bombay, New Bombay. He had just come back from Gulf, and he had joined a chota mota construction company because he was supposed to be a civil engineer. His father the boy's father was a taxi driver, and mother was a housewife. So, and the boy had booked a house, a flat, by paying some 5 lakh rupees, and he had told the builder that I'm getting married and after that I'll pay the full amount. Now see, the girl had finished her MBBS and she was doing her master's MD. So you can imagine what sort of pair it would have made. Now the thing is, he had booked that house keeping in mind that he's going to take the dowry. So I gave the details to the gentleman who had come to me, the father. He was zapped. He said, no, I don't believe it. I said, well, here they are, the photographs of the father driving a taxi and the details of the boy, where he's working and things like that. So he started crying. He said, Mr. Majumdar, you have saved my daughter's life. I don't know if I would have got her married to this guy. I don't know what would have happened to her. So you see, the number of divorce cases which are increasing today is basically because certain amount of not checking the background of the would-be bride or bridegroom. If you spend lakhs of rupees on a wedding, you can spend a couple of lakhs in getting your match checked, because you never know. You see, today the shadis are getting done either by matrimonial ads, shadi.com, or somebody known who gives you the information about the boy or the girl, or it's a love marriage. Now, for a love marriage, knowing the person for so many years, yes, but still, we go as deep as whether the boy has any connections with the underworld, whether he has any disease, and of course the family background, what sort of family he belongs to, and whether he's having an affair with somebody else or not. So we go into that details. So this is one of the requirement for a private detective in day-to-day life. Second is the other way, where a husband or a wife sort of suspects that he or she is having an affair, extramarital affair. Now, we find out that. Now he goes on tours and there takes his secretary, or there he has some affair, whatever it is. So that is called post-matrimonial. The earlier was pre-matrimonial, this is called post-matrimonial, where we find out what is happening during this absence of the groom or the bride, husband or wife. So that is a post-matrimonial. Again, a fact finding, we find out exactly what, and normally we give with photographs and videos or some tape conversation, etc., etc. They are basically valid in court of law. Then we do a lot of these things in companies where before they recruit somebody, they find out the background of the person. We call that pre-employment screening. Then finding out what's happening inside the company. We plant some detective inside and he finds out what's happening within the company, the union and whatever the workers are doing when the officer or the owner is not there in the factory. So that is one more thing. There are a whole lot of, basically, as I said, we are fact finders. So whatever you want to know about the truth, we find out that. So in your day-to-day life, this is how we come into the picture, a fact finder.
Finally, I would like to ask you what type of training or qualification is needed to become a private detective?
The type of training is basically, yes, when I joined Globe had a training center in Mysore where I had gone for a training. But actually, the private detective, the main thing is you have to be very observant. You have to be very, very observant as to what you see and hear. Just keep your mouth shut and observe. Whenever I have to recruit a person, you need a lot of patience. Now imagine if you are surveillance. Surveillance is following somebody. Now, whether it's winter, summer, or it's raining heavily, you have to see that pre or post matrimonial inquiry. Now, suppose you have doubts about that husband is going around doing something with some other woman. Now you have to keep him under surveillance to see where he's going or who all is meeting. So you have to be very, very strong physically and mentally, because it's raining heavily or it's very cold or it's hot summer and you're standing outside that man's house waiting for him to come out. Now that takes a lot of patience and that takes a lot of courage. Now, as I said, I'm an electrical engineer with a management background, but I was quite successful basically because I had that analytical power. So you are not supposed to decide what is right, what is wrong. You are supposed to find out what is the fact. So basic training is as to recruit a person, as to give him a faltu gadi ka number. I said, go stand at that junction and see when that car passes. Now, if that guy has the patience, he would stick around and come back in the evening and say, sorry sir, wo gadi dikha nahi hai. And I would I would recruit him. But if somebody goes away halfway and says, kya karne ka? Ye barish mein bhig raha hai ya garmi mein, dhoop mein, is waiting there for hours. And I would go around and check if the guy is still there, standing or not. Whatever you read or see in movies, they're not so. Karam Chand, I remember if you had seen that There used to be a serial, Pankaj Kapoor. I used to hate it because we detectives, we don't behave like that. So coming back to the thing, you need to have a lot of patience and a lot of analytical power. Baki training is always on the job. We are given the details and you have to just follow. You don't have to use your brains. You have to just follow the instructions. That's it. Yeah. So there are training institutes for private detective, but I'm not very happy or confident about how successful they are. Okay. So that's what is required. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir, for coming. So, friends, that was our very own Sherlock Holmes, Mr. Gautam Majumdar. Do send in your feedback and please don't forget to give it a like and subscribe. See you next week. Thank you.